very special edition of Gutfeld. I'm Tom Shillue, filling in for Greg. Let's welcome tonight's guests. He likes to spend Saturday afternoons patting himself down. Former NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor Paul Morrow. His act generates more sympathy than world hunger. Comedian Adam Hunter. Pregnancy has made her take up a new hobby, eating. New York Times best-selling author and Fox News contributor Captain. And he water skis on humpback whales. New York Times best-selling author, comedian, former NWA World Champion Tyrus. Okay, before we get to some news stories, let's do this.
Greg's Leftovers.
Yes, it's Leftovers, where I read the jokes we didn't use this week. And as always, it's my first time reading them. So if they suck, let Joe Mackey be Kamala's new speechwriter. Kamala Harris officially got the nomination last night. You know how it works. When a candidate has enough delegates, he or she gets the nomination. It's the same way they select a girlfriend for Tom Cruise. Kamala Harris accepted the nomination on behalf of the people, specifically the 14 million people who didn't vote for her. People accused the DNC of leaking that Beyoncé was performing to get people to watch. That is a new low, if true. By the way, catch Elvis Presley on Monday's Gutfeld. Yeah. TMZ owned up to falsely reporting on Beyoncé's appearance. They should stick to reporting on famous people's drunk driving arrests, like Tim Walz. Dana Bash claimed the DNC is trying to appeal to men that aren't testosterone-laden with Tim Walz and Doug Emhoff, causing organizers to wonder why she left out Randy Weingarten. A new study said 60% of supermarket baby foods are unhealthy. Wait, I'm gonna have to feed it? Send one woman? Nicolas Cage will portray the late John Madden in an upcoming biopic. To achieve the right look for the role, he's currently working with a personal trainer. You saw that coming. In what's being described as a verbal gaffe, New York Mayor Eric Adams said he's a good mayor because of his ability to, quote, sexualize and stay focused, which would make him an excellent New York City school teacher. A Connecticut woman has earned a Guinness World Record by having 99% of her body tattooed. We would show you her whole face, but she doesn't like to draw attention to herself. While walking in Chicago this week, a delegate from Texas was robbed at gunpoint, but in Chicago, that's just how they say hello. Nancy Pelosi spoke at the convention this week. She took credit for creating 1,200 jobs for plastic surgeons. Now to the news. Will the DNC's fluff help Harris enough? Now that the DNC is over and libs are basking in the glow of empty nothingness, we'd like to recap some of the lowlights from the week. But because I'm feeling generous, I'm going to spare you the clips of Kamala Harris. Okay. First up, Dr. Jill. She tried to rewrite her husband's history.
And weeks ago, when I saw him dig deep into his soul and decide to no longer seek re-election and endorse Kamala Harris.
Really? Is that how you remember it? That's like saying Lincoln quit on the advice of his doctors. As I recall it, Joe was flung out of Air Force One without a parachute. And as for the woman who threw him out, old Nancy looked less than thrilled during a "We Love Joe" chant when the camera cut to her And who could blame her? Stabbing someone in the back is draining. Really takes it out of you. Just ask the Obamas. Meanwhile, here's one woman who's got the energy of a coked-up hamster.
Next week, we got to go back to working the way we work for a collective bargaining contract, that way we work for anything that is important to us, any of the things that are important. Every single day, we need to fight to get Kamala Harris and Tim Walz elected. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm not ready! And who could forget this wisecrack from former President Obama?
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
What's this mean, Barack? It can't be a childish insult, could it? Of course, it wouldn't have been a week to remember without Biden losing the battle with the teleprompter.
The United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, women are not without electoral or political power.
You know, I think that was an insult to women with electrical power. And finally, let's not forget that during the DNC, a star was born.
When our house is on fire, we don't ask about the homeowner or religion. We don't wonder who their partner is or how they voted. No. We just try to do the best we can to save them. And if the place happens to belong to a childless cat lady,
Poor cat lady. She never stood a chance when cable news showed her on camera. Although we here at Fox didn't. But we wish you well, cat lady. Just don't let your cats vote. All right, here we go. Let's do some news, right? Yeah. What did you think of the convention, Paul? Did you find it had a lot of joy?
When it was over.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
The rest of the time, it was like acid reflux.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
what kind of moments stood out for you?
So I was outside, all right? I was only inside intermittently to do some on-air appearances, but outside were all the protesters. And there's a significant moment, and we're going to have a clip. I was watching, there's about 1,000 people scattered around a very large park. It's a big open grass area, and the tenor is very anti-American. There's a lot of people screaming, because when you get these sorts of protests, yeah, it's about Gaza and everything else, but you get all the adjacent groups.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, like, communists and anarchists and this kind of thing. So this one guy enters the field, and something is a little off. I can see he's a little different.
Yeah.
He's carrying a flag, big flag. He's got aviator glasses on. He's walking very erect. He's got a bullhorn, right? Young black male, thin guy. He's not big. So I'm wondering, what's this guy getting himself into here? What's going on? I'm watching him. I just picked him up as he entered the field. I'm watching him, and he walks right among about 1,000 pretty hostile people. And
yeah.
I'm going to curse because they said I could do it. Picks up the bullhorn. The first thing he says is, y'all. So, in our lifetime, if you ever wondered if Chicago was going to produce a genius, this is him. And we have a clip of what he did subsequently, and it's amazing.
Let's see it.
Guess what? We live in America. We got problems going over here. Problems going on over here. What do I want? Listen, you know what I want? I want to see my flag and my country raised high. Not that flag. This is our country.
There you go. That was great.
Is that great? So I shot that video. I wanted to interview him later, but all I can say is, bro, run for mayor of Chicago.
Exactly.
They need you.
Exactly. Well, that's great. Adam, what were some of your favorite things at the convention?
Well, first of all, go Urkel. But, I mean, the whole thing was, first to get there, you had to pass the vasectomy and the abortion bus that they were having, right? Which, you know, why even have a vasectomy? Any guy there has their nuts chopped off already, you know? But I heard they were having a 2-for-1 with Bill Clinton and Kamala's husband if they want to get a vasectomy. But it's just, there was a lot of things. I mean, you know, like Tim Wall saying, mind your own business. Unless you're from Minnesota, then your business got burned down. Yeah. You know? Yes. Or him like bragging about how good of a shot he has. Well, you know who could use that? The guys in Iraq. That you deserted. And like, you know, Biden, it was only up there because his donors pulled out, like even the kidney one.
Paul got that one. I don't think I got that one, but Paul did.
And you know, Nancy Pelosi's speech had more filler than her face. And then Hillary is up there, you know, and she's still mad at Trump from back, like she was mad because, you know, she was mad that, you know, basically, she was mad that...
Consult your notes. Go ahead, Adam. Look at your notes.
She was furious.
Trump got mad because, you know, Hillary deleted emails, and Hillary got mad at Trump for not showing his tax returns. And if I was Trump, I would just email her my tax returns, you know?
That's it. He got it out. He got it out. You just read it. Just read it.
Hey, sometimes you just got to give the horse a little more kick. You rode it home.
I'll tell you what I liked. I liked the Little John. Little John rapping, I happen to like that because I actually went to his rap concert. And everyone thought I was an undercover cop when I was there. And I'm like, no, I'm not a cop. Look, I have drugs. And turns out the guy was a cop.
Tyrus, there was a lot of joy this week at the convention, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the parts that I liked. I think we got to give Johnny from Water's World. He was amazing. He was in the trenches, man, and he was asking questions, and he got the leak going about the Beyonce thing where everyone was running around looking for Beyonce.
Yeah. Did he start that or no? He just...
No, the people he was interviewing were like, she's here. She's here. You know, we can't talk right now. She can't talk right now. So I think that was probably the thing, is that there's people still probably in the audience going, man, Beyonce is so...
Yeah, they're waiting.
Like, but you wait for greatness. So that, and again, you got to talk about the police force, the Chicago police force. They did an amazing job of keeping people safe whose whole agenda is to take their jobs and dignity away. And that says a lot, because it's amazing when you allow police to do their job, how safe they were.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's sad because they don't allow the police to do their job in Chicago where they're really needed. But they were very safe to talk about and wave whatever flag they want and say what all the things they want, because the police, the men and women wearing the shield, did the job because they have integrity. So maybe that's a lot from that. Oh, and finally, I know the cameraman was a Republican, because when she said cat lady, he's like, yup, I know just the one. Yeah, that, we know the cameraman's. To the camera crew.
I love how she looked around,
nice
too.
Nice job, Briz.
Like, she turned around like, is there a cat lady
behind me? But here's the part.
Me?
She wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
That's not the first time she's heard that.
Cat. You're kind of a cat lady, but a proud one.
Not kind of.
Oh, she's...
Yeah, my cat's my world, and I'm about to have a baby.
Oh. Don't you think that's all going to go away, though? You won't, once you have the baby, no more cat lady, right?
No, I don't think so. I'm gonna make sure that, no, I'll breastfeed them both at the same time.
Wow.
The joke. An awesome joke. The tickets on sale.
What was your highlights of the convention?
So the Women's Caucus National Anthem. I think we have the clip, right?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed the twilight's last gleaming.
The woman on the right, I love her. Because she's just like, she says, see, and she's smiling, and then she's like, no. I'm not gonna be any part in this foolishness. I would love to have her, like, speaking of foolishness, sit in a chair next to Greg on the show and see if he can still do the stuff he does. Like, or would you feel too silly? Because she's like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a clip with this foolishness.
They did it as a round. I've never seen the national anthem done that way.
Well, to be fair, patriotism's new to them. So they just learned
Exactly.
the song.
Very good.
Before we go, come check me out on my stand-up tour. Next month, I'll be in Philly, New Jersey, Raleigh, Richmond, Virginia, and Buffalo in October. Go to tomshillue.com for tickets. Up next, RFK changes course and chooses Trump.